Su Fan led Tang Yanling towards the outside of the street. When Tang Yanling realized something, he only saw Su Fan turn back once he took a few steps, followed by looking around again, and his eyes looked panicked. What are you doing? Did you make some enemies? Ahem. That. I was worried about your safety, that's why I acted so cautiously. In response to this inquiry, Su Fan immediately retorted. He would not admit that he was afraid of that group of intelligence officers. Tang Yanling sniffed, so she didn't say anything more, even though she could tell that this kid was just talking nonsense. After walking for about 10 minutes, the two men came to the side of the road across from the rental house. If you want to go to the city, you can still take public transportation during the day, but at night you'll have to drop in, and even the cabs won't come to this out-of-the-way place. This human holy land of yours isn't much better, traveling with such slow mounts. Tang Yanling looked at the small cars zipping down the road and spat disdainfully. With those words, before Su Fan could answer, she was about to offer up her own magic weapon, letting this group of humanoids take a good look at what the true speed and passion was. What grass? Big sister, please don't. Su Fan saw that her delicate hands had already made a move, and in a panic, he immediately shouted to stop. In the middle of the line of sight, a bright and dazzling lightsaber was slowly floating in the air. At the same time, he bobbed his head and scouted around to make sure nothing had been seen before he breathed a long sigh of relief. Tang Yanling looked at the other party's tense appearance and thought of what Su Fan had cautioned her about earlier, so she couldn't help but soften her aura and withdraw her immortal sword. This seat forgot the precautions you spoke with me about. Su Fan helplessly wiped the cold sweat on his forehead, then helplessly said, we've agreed that we can't mess around. You just have to follow me. Don't do anything. Tang Yanling sniffed and bristled. The two waited for about 8 minutes or so before a white drop-top specialized car pulled up in front of them. Su Fan took the lead in opening the car door and sat inside the back row, and only when he turned back did he realize that the woman was actually still standing still, unmoved. What are you doing? Come up here. At this moment, the driver turned his head and asked, Sir, your cell phone's tail number is. Suddenly, before he could finish his words, he was drawn to Tang Yanling's figure, a pair of straight long legs, with JK uniform. Any man cannot withstand such temptation. The mask is still on. Do you want to play a kind of hazy beauty? He murmured in the back of his mind. Youngsters these days are pretty good at this. Tang Yanling looked at Su Fan inside, then agreed. Originally, she had planned to sit in the front row, wanting to observe the human race in this realm, but then she unconsciously remembered Su Fan's words, so she sat in the back row as well and stayed close to him. Closing the car door, Su Fan explained his tail number to the driver. Master, go to the center of the city near Changhua Avenue. The driver averted his gaze from Tang Yanling's body and gave him a goodbye. Then with a kick of gas, the car rushed out. Young people's things, he did not ask more. After all, who has not been young is not. Think of when he was young. Definitely more than Su Fan Playflowers. Of course, these words weren't spoken, just a mental pang. Can't tell if I'm envious, jealous or hateful. The vehicle had been traveling for about 2 minutes when the car radio made a shrill noise. Dear listeners, now urgently insert a news. This evening, the city occurred a major explosion accident, resulting in 10 deaths. 20 people were injured, and now are urgently fighting the fire. The following please listen to the details of the important news. This magic treasure is actually able to make a sound? This seat doesn't detect a fourth person. Or is this the spirit it was born with? Tang Yanling frowned slightly. The entire car has been her divine sense of all-round exploration, but still cannot sense where the fourth person, and this magic treasure seems to be not born spirit to come. All of this new and strange insight was slowly refreshing her old worldview, and everything was starting to get interesting. Chapter 15, You Have to Trust Me. Chapter 15, You Have to Trust Me. In response to Tang Yanling's odd questioning, the driver raised his head and skimmed the two people in the back row, but didn't say anything. Shoo, don't talk. Su Fan gave her a wide-eyed look and quietly whispered. Just now, the driver turned his head, which can be said to give him a big scare. But fortunately the reaction is fast. Looking at the quiet Tang Yanling, Su Fan just let out a long breath. Tang Yanling looked at Su Fan with a tense face and felt bad. Then she remembered the other party's instructions and stopped speaking. The neon lights running outside the car window flashed with a blinding light, and the bustling street was approaching. The vehicle traveled for about 20 minutes or so before finally arriving near Changhua Avenue. Two people got off the car, looking at this bustling scene, completely with Su Fan where the rental house is not a world. All around the flashing bright lights, people come and go, a lively scene. Some people are just off work. Some people are with their wives and children to come shopping. There are also a pair of small couples. Of course, there are also groups of young people together blowing the stream batch. Follow me. Stay close to me. Su Fan looked at Tang Yanling and slowly opened his mouth. Tang Yanling looked at this scene and was very surprised at everything. The scene in front of her eyes was completely different from what she remembered, so she was curious about everything in front of her eyes, but she didn't dare to continue to make a move because of Su Fan's words. Aha! Facing Su Fan's yell, she gave a fake yes. Within the period of time that the two were talking, the driver master had already driven the vehicle slowly away. Looking at the departing vehicle, Tang Yanling's gaze still-eyed its disappearance. What a strange thing. What kind of magic treasure is it? It obviously has no fluctuation of aura, yet it can travel. As well as there were originally only 3 people, yet this seat heard the voice of a 4th person. No matter how much she suppressed her curiosity, she could never resist asking. Everything in this realm is too strange and reveals bizarre behavior. Except for a few things she remembers existing, most of which are unheard of, such as cars, hot water heaters, refrigerators, and everything else. What made her even more shocked was that these magic treasures actually didn't have any aura fluctuation, but were still able to run smoothly. Knowing that inside the world of gods, wanting to have a smooth-running magic treasure was very rare. Often those magic treasures came from the hands of a master refiner, and in this realm, things like this actually abounded. In this moment, she was beginning to feel surprised, as well as wary, about this realm, and she wanted to find out the truth urgently. Su Fan looked at her and shook his head with an inscrutable expression. Don't make a fuss. These are ordinary things in this interface. Take a look. It's all over the streets. There's no need to be surprised. Su Fan stretched out his right hand towards her and waved his hand to point at the vehicles coming and going and explained. Tang Yanling's face was odd. Then why don't you have this magic treasure? Do you still need to use someone else's? Su Fan. At those words, his smile instantly stiffened. This woman which pot is not mentioning which pot. He would like to dislike a sentence back to go back. If this master has money, he would have already traveled in a luxury car. Still need to take a taxi? But even if he knew that he disliked it, I'm sure the woman wouldn't understand. So he silently sighed and snuffed out the thought. This reason is not too convenient to tell you now. To be discussed later. Do not ask too many questions. Su Fan once again put up his mysterious stance, striving to mold his image properly. There was no way he could do anything about being poor, wasn't there? He then took a step towards the crowd, opening his phone to check the news tweets as he went. A message popped up on the cell phone interface that a fireworks show would be held over at the Wanda Plaza tonight, and that there would be a lantern viewing event as well. Tang Yanling looked at Su Fan, who was walking in front of her and could only follow helplessly, but she realized that the gazes of the people around her had been lingering on her body. This made her very uncomfortable, knowing that in the world of gods, all those who dared to act in such a manner would have their eyes gouged out and their tendons and souls extracted by her. However, at this time, she endured, and listened to Su Fan's admonition. Why do these people keep staring at this seat? Is it because this seat's aura is leaking? Tang Yanling sprinted to follow Su Fan, walking alongside him and muttering carefully. Don't worry, there's no problem, just trust me. After saying that, Su Fan side-eyed him with an embarrassed expression. After all, it was himself who had bought this clothing for her, plus with her perfect body, whoever saw it could not help but look at it twice more. Tang Yanling continued to ask, but, there's no buts, do you not trust me? We're partners, would I harm you? Tang Yanling. The two walked side by side for 10 minutes or so and came to a crosswalk near which a number of people were already waiting for the green light to come on. And across the street is the largest square in Jianhai City. The front is now crowded with people, crowding each other. It looks like everyone has come to watch the fireworks show. To know that after the total ban on fireworks, such a lively day is really rare. Everyone pent up in the bottom of the heart of the depressed breath, are eager to get this to express. But at this moment the crowd's eyes were drawn to a figure. A grandmother was collapsing alone on top of the crosswalk, probably in her 70s, full of white hair and slack skin. She was struggling, trying to get up, but she couldn't muster the strength. Tang Yanling also saw the scene in front of her, but what made her more concerned was something else. Although the crowd in front of the crowd came and went, but no one came forward to help the grandmother. Come on, let's go over there and check out the fireworks display. Seeing the red light jump to green in a second, Su Fan called out to her, signaling to follow him closely. As a result, after he had taken 2 steps, he turned back only to realize that the other party was actually still standing straight in place, and its gaze was fixed straight on the old man who had fallen to the ground. What are you doing? Why don't you leave? Su Fan raised his eyebrows and inquired thus. Tang Yanling didn't answer him, but looked at him for a moment longer before slowly speaking. Your human race is truly a sight to behold, so united when you were in the world of gods, and within this so-called Holy Land, you're actually so cold. Su Fan, Tang Yanling had lived in the world of gods for millions of years, and had had close contact with the human race, having been to many cities where the human race had lived, and having seen a lot of the human world. But in the middle of this realm, When an old man falls, thousands of people, actually no one came forward to help. The degree of indifference is really mind-boggling. She did not understand how such behavior can bear the word Holy Land. Chapter 16 This is very unreasonable. Chapter 16 This is very unreasonable. Su Fan looked at the doubt in Tang Yanling's eyes, and he naturally understood what the other party was thinking, so he could only burst into a bitter laugh. Don't look at me like that. I have my own reasons. Really, I don't want to help? It's because I don't have any money. Money? Do you need silver to help people? Several large question marks popped up above Tang Yanling's head, expressing incomprehension. Of course you need money. If you go to help people in this realm, money is a necessity. If you don't have money, it's better not to get into this mess. Why do you need silver to help? She was puzzled and quite incredulous. It was the first time she had ever heard of needing silver to help someone. Su Fan patiently explained to him, and also gestured with his hands and feet for a while. How should I put it, there are some old people with unusually sinister hearts in this world, and if you accidentally go to help them, there's a good chance that you'll be blackmailed by them. After saying that, he also pointed at the old man who had fallen. Like that. For example, you should see that I'm not lying to you when you look around at all these people who aren't impressed. Tang Yanling cocked her head and looked twice at the old man. These people are taking advantage of the goodness of people's hearts to make the world the way it is today, so that people have the desire to do good, but they don't dare. There's even such a thing? And I'm also telling you that the people who hold them up will then be asked to pay a lot of money in damages, even to the point of losing their families. Su Fan patiently explained to him. When the words ended, Tang Yanling was greatly shocked. She really couldn't believe that there was actually such a thing, but she still didn't quite believe it just by hearing Su Fan say it. So then she made a one decision. This seat intends to go forward to help. At that time, if you really need silver, you help the seat to compensate even. Out of the goodness of her heart, how could she, as the devil's empress, be so merciful as to see an old man collapsed on the side of the road and go to help him? Don't even think about it. It's impossible. However, she was still very curious in her heart and wanted to personally verify whether what Su Fan said was true and believable, or they wanted to test whether these human races really had evil intentions and bad intentions. Su Fan? It's over. This woman is hopeless. Su Fan spat so in his heart, that I don't have any silver. Before Su Fan could finish his words, he only saw that Tang Yanling had already peeled away from the crowd and walked towards the old man. Then he eagerly shouted out, "Big sister, I don't have any silver. I can't afford to pay for it." On the crosswalk, there was an endless stream of people coming and going, but not a single person dared to come forward to give a hand. Some children saw an old man fell to the ground, pulling their parents, wanting to let them help. The adults shook their heads frantically, crouched down and carefully told them, "Cannot help. Help, the trouble can be a big problem." Then he did not say to buy toys. Not even the school cannot go. The children shook their heads and did not understand the importance of what the adults were saying, but once they heard that they couldn't buy the toys, they all immediately dismissed the idea of going to assist them. The adults looked at the children's drooping ears and breathed a sigh of relief, and turned their heads to glare at the old man with a vicious, if not a flash of malice. If it weren't for the fact that there were children around to patiently explain, they wouldn't even look at it if they were alone. The fear of being pitched is deeply embedded in their minds. After all, there is still a large family to feed, is not it? But just then, a scene appeared that blew everyone's mind. The old man lay alone on the floor and was struggling as a tall woman in a JK uniform and knee-length leg stockings slowly walked up. She scanned down at the old man and surprisingly bent down to help him up directly. "Ai, little girl. Thank you. There aren't many good people like you nowadays. It's all because of my useless old legs and my children aren't around." The old man sighed helplessly. Tang Yanling could clearly feel that the other party was indeed on bad legs and feet, and was still shaking, so I'm afraid it was indeed very difficult to stand and walk. Even so, she shook Tang Yanling's hand and thanked her excitedly. "Tang Yanling?" She looked at the other party and stayed straight for a moment. This didn't seem quite the same as the scenario Su Fan had described. "Right? Didn't you say it takes silver to help someone? But why is it only thanks when it comes to her? Isn't this old man nice? He doesn't look like one of those people who fall down and have bad intentions." The old man in front of me was obviously saying thank you from the bottom of his heart and very genuinely. Still, Tang Yanling planned to ask, I need to compensate you for the silver. Money? How much do I need?" The old woman froze for a long moment in the face of the sudden inquiry. "Old man?" The old man's smile disappeared in an instant, and the words he wanted to continue were instantly muted. It was only at this point that Su Fan struggled to weave his way out of the crowd, and when he heard the two men's conversation, he realized that the old man wasn't blackmailing, and then he pulled Tang Yanling over with one hand. Without waiting for Su Fan to open his mouth, Tang Yanling's icy cold voice came out. "You dare to swindle this seat?